Hello, hello, hello. Hello there. Here we go again. How has your week been? I hope things are picking up gradually. How is work? How is the family? Today, I'm going to talk about, I'm going to share a life story, a true life story of a lady. For the purposes of this broadcast, we're going to call her Angela. We're going to call her Angela. If you have a friend, a family member, a cousin or a colleague who perhaps is planning to get either male or female planning to go to who is abroad, who is in diaspora, planning to go abroad back to Africa to either marry a wife or a husband. You need to share this video, share. Let them learn a bit of one or two things from this from Angela's experience. The thing about life is that if you don't listen to other people's life's experiences to learn one or two lessons from them, you might end up becoming a statistics that other people who are willing will learn from. So that is what it is. So now this lady Angela um, has been in the she came into the UK. She spent some came in here in the early 90s, qualified as a nurse, working very hard, was so involved in her career, didn't think about marriage. Well, marriage didn't happen for her, but she wasn't worried. She wasn't bothered. She was working very hard, earning good salary. And then before you knew it, she was 30, 40, 50. And then in her late 50s, according to her, she was having a conversation with a cousin of hers one day. And you know how it is with women, like, so the cousin was asking, what's going on? Why are you not married and you don't have children? She said, well, I won't marry myself. No man is coming. And more so, I'm even so busy. I work around the clock, back to back. Sometimes I do sometimes I do long shifts, long days, you know. And she said by the time she gets home every day, she's tired. She doesn't really have time for a man palaver. So the cousin said, time is going. It will be good for you to get married, to have your own children. Because at the end of the day, what are you working for if there is no man or at least children that would enjoy this thing with you? I mean, your life with you. So the cousin now said to her, "Oh, I know a very good godly man who is a teacher somewhere um, in the East, and he's not yet married, never been married, and everything. I'll do the introduction. Are you coming to Nigeria this December?" She said, "Oh, if you think that the guy has, well," she showed interest. So she worked. So then she started working, preparing for December of that year. Raised some, was able to save some amount, and then she went. She was in Nigeria, and the cousin introduced her to this man. I think originally the cousin actually has a good intention. I don't think it was something that was planned, or maybe the cousin conspired with this man. It's just that the man is another in another class of his own. He had his own intentions, so he was introduced to this to Angela, and they got talking that first meeting, and then she stayed in Nigeria for 2 weeks and then returned back to the UK, and the communication continued. And then after some couple of months, she visited Nigeria again. And the thing is, that second visit, it was almost as if she was talking the man into marriage. Or how would you like to come to join me in the UK? Or I have a property, I have this, I have, she was telling him everything about her achievements. Again, that is another red flag. As a single woman, as a matured woman, don't think that if you advertise yourself to a man to say, oh, I've got cars, I've got buildings, I've got properties, I've got this, you are indirectly selling yourself out. The reason being that if the man does not have a good intention towards you, he might just play along with you just to get whatever it is he wants to get from you, and then he just does a runner. So it doesn't matter. You cannot buy love with money. So if you are saying to a man, "Oh, I've got my British passport, I've got properties in the UK, I've got this, I've got," you're just selling yourself out. Anyway, she thought she was advertising herself by telling the man everything she has, and the man said, "Oh, well, you know what? Well, to the extent that she was like saying, would you like to come to the UK? We can get married, blah, blah, blah." So the man actually said to her, "Let me think about it." So even though he was earning less than £50 a month, he knew what he wanted, but indirectly he was playing hard to get, because he had already seen that Angela actually displayed a level of desperation. So he knew she was desperate to get married. He knew she was a matured single. And he pretended as if he wasn't desperate. That was smart of him. And he said to her, "I will think about it." She said, "Okay." And then a couple of weeks later, he said, "Oh, I'm interested, blah, blah, blah." And before you knew it, Angela sprang into action, started making purchases, buying the wedding gown, buying everything, his suit, wedding suit, everything, planning. She spent all the wedding rings, everything. She spent everything about the wedding, including the traditional marriage. She hardly knew this man. She hadn't even spent up to 1 month consecutively with this man all the time she visited Nigeria. She was so desperate. She felt she didn't have the time, or she could actually use her money to buy the man, bring him back to the UK, and then life continues and everything was going to be rosy. But unfortunately, one thing women should understand is that the fact that you're actually even saying to a man that you have money, or you are investing into the life of the man, money cannot buy love. So don't ever do that. Just allow everything to be natural. But unfortunately, she did that. She felt, okay, yeah, you are earning less than £50 a month, and in a local school in some remote village, and all of that, and I'm going to help you, bring you to the UK and everything. And obviously, she thought he was going to appreciate that and be loyal to her, but that's obviously most times doesn't happen that way. So she started all the wedding arrangements and everything. They came back to Nigeria again, and as a matter of fact, I think it was the second trip to Nigeria that the whole wedding plans, everything took place. The traditional wedding, she booked the hotel, paid for everything, brought the suits and all. But again, there were red flags also from the side of the man, because it was basically as if they just dressed him up to come to attend the wedding. He didn't have money. She paid for everything, and after the wedding, I think there was this football club that was playing on that day. So when she paid for the hotel room. They got to the hotel room. She had gone to freshen up and puts on, like new bride now, puts on her nice, sexy nightgown, waiting for him. And he just sat, he was watching the football, and she kept on inviting him over to come over to bed. And he said he was watching the football because he according to him, is a football fan. Again, that was a red flag. He wasn't excited or interested in, going to kind of be with his new bride to consolidate the at least to be with his new bride on their wedding night, to consummate the marriage, so to say. So, like when she told me, I was saying to her, "Why didn't you, even at that time? How did you feel? Were you not scared that that was actually a red flag?" She said she thought of that, but what would she do? She had waited all this while to get married. What would people say? Again, that's another thing. A lot of times when things are going wrong in relationships, rather than protect ourselves, we're thinking about what will people say. What will people say? What will the friends say? People will laugh at me. What will the neighbors say? What would my colleagues say? What will my family members say? I've waited this long to get married. Why will I now, immediately after the wedding, now dissolve the marriage, even though the signs were there? Who does that? On your wedding night, the guy was not interested in coming to consummate the marriage. She saw herself the next morning. She saw herself the next morning. The guy did not open the package at all. He wasn't interested. They proceeded from there, traveled to Lagos. She bought all the flight ticket, got to Lagos, did all the arrangements about his joining her in the UK. And then he finally joined her. She paid all the expenses, she paid for everything. He finally joined her. And then the real drama now continues from there. He would, she helped him to get a care, to pay for a care training. So obviously to keep body and soul together whilst he was thinking about what career path he wanted to follow. You see. If you are watching this video, please share, share, share. Ladies, share, comment. I want to hear your comments. Have you experienced anything similar? You have any friends or family who have experienced something like that? They want to share their story. Feel free to contact me on my email or on the telephone number, which I'll put there at the bottom of this video, and then share. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a talk. We can also have a live show where we can invite others to be part of the show so that people can learn as much as possible from experiences. If you want to make it anonymous, we are good to go. If you don't mind, whichever way you actually want us to showcase your life stories, we're happy to obviously to use this platform to make it available for other women and also other men also, so that they can learn. So the guy joined her in the UK. She paid for the care training. He attended the care training and then started working. He wasn't contributing. What he was doing, anytime he received his wages, he would send it straight away to his extended family members in Africa. According to her, when she met him in Africa, they were staying in a ramshackle mud house. So his first priority then was to build a 7-bedroom bungalow for his mom. I think he was the oldest child. Was to build a 7-bedroom bungalow for his mom and his younger siblings, which of course, according to her, she didn't mind. She felt that since he was here, he needed to help them out of that level of poverty. But where she became a bit concerned was he wasn't even contributing anything. He wasn't giving her no moral support. He wasn't sleeping with her. He will walk back to back. Sometimes he doesn't even come back home. He will say he's walking back to back. And the scariest part was that he now kept on lying to her that he was having erectile dysfunction. He wasn't interested in sleeping with her. According to her, for the 8 years that they got married, he didn't sleep with her. I actually thought she was exaggerating. I mean, who does that? For the 8 years that they were married, he didn't sleep with her for up to 4 times. He was always giving one. So he wasn't physically attracted to her. He wasn't attracted to her. He was just there to use her to obviously to find his feet. But the thing is, all the red flags were there right from day one, from the date of the wedding, after the wedding ceremony. All the red flags were there, but she just kept a blind eye to all the signs, everything, because she was more interested in thinking about what will people say. I've waited this long, and to get married. What will people say that the marriage did not last? What will people say? That's what she was more interested in thinking about. Anyway, kept on sending money, and then while she was paying the bills, the mortgage, and then taking care of everything about the bills in the house, she didn't even see any difference that a man was not part of her life, apart from the fact that she was losing money. She was losing financially because she was paying for the electricity, for the gas, council tax, everything she was paying. She was feeding him, and He had choices about the numbers of meats that she should put whenever she was serving him, and it was quite traditional. He needed to be he wanted to be the king. To like, he would always remind her that, I'm the man. I'm an Igbo man and everything. He was always into these traditional ways of women being subservient to their men. Anyway, according to her, also, I said to her, okay, because she said she had so many, or she inherited a lot from her father, being the first daughter. She also disclosed all of that to him, and all of, so he knew all that she had in Nigeria, and she had expressed her intention to do a prenuptial. He was now the one that took her to his own lawyers in Nigeria to do a prenuptial. But unfortunately for her, she couldn't even get a copy of the prenuptial agreement. She couldn't locate the lawyers even in Nigeria, when obviously when things now went sour. And I was asking her questions. She didn't have the details. So as far as she was concerned, there was no prenuptial agreement. It actually just deceived her to make her think that the prenuptial agreement was valid. So back to now London, like there was nothing he could do, even when like as little as fixing a bulb or replacing a bulb that had gone an electricity bulb that had gone bad or anything like that. He wasn't interested. According to her, there was a time the roof was leaking and it rained and the whole house was flooded. He now moved out of the house for about 3 weeks until she called the insurance and they carried out all there was no support. So all the signs were there that he was not interested in her. He was just interested in using her. So at this time, you remember, obviously, they had given him the spousal visa. It was now time for him to renew, to apply for indefinite leave to remain, to apply for settlement. So at that point, she now said she was not going to support him to do the application. So he went and spoke to some other close friends and family members. They came and they sat her down. They tried to convince her to say, oh, he's your husband. Apply for him. Let him have the settlement. Maybe if he has the settlement, as time goes on, he's going to get used to the system. He will now start working hand in hand with you as his wife and all of that. Maybe it's the culture shock, blah, blah, blah. She bought into that again. She supported him, brought out all the documents, wrote the letters of support and everything, gave her passport, applied for him, and he got his indefinite leave to remain. That's his settlement status. And then his behavior changed a little bit, that period. And after a couple of months, he went back to his old self, and then, was not interested in anything she was doing. When the interesting part, when he told her he had erectile this dysfunction, she encouraged him that they should visit the GP. He wasn't interested. And then according to her, she went to the pharmacy and got um, and got and obviously spoke with the pharmacist to say, okay, this is what she's experiencing with her husband, and they advised her to get Viagra for him. And then she got the Viagra, paid for it, got home, gave it to him. She said, to her shock and dismay, the next morning, something just, I don't know whether she was looking for something in the bin and she had to open the bin. Lo and behold, she saw the packet of Viagra inside the bin, unused. That was when it just dawned on her that this man didn't really have any problems with it. He didn't have any problems. He didn't need Viagra. He was just not interested in her. But even at then, she still did not even take steps. She was still thinking that, like, at least she's married. People from the outside, they actually think she's married. One day it's going to change. So they just continued like that. And then he started saying, oh, the reason why he's not helping her with this house where he moved into, he's a traditional man. That he moved, if it was in Nigeria, he wouldn't have moved into a woman's house. He moved into a house that they should buy another house. That if they buy another house in both names, then he can be contributing to that house, because now this house is in her name. So this is her house. That's why he's not interested, because he doesn't feel happy moving. Remember, this is a man who was earning less than £50 a month when he was a teacher in a remote village in Nigeria. Anyway, so she bought into that idea. They went and bought another house in both names and they moved. He was even trying to encourage her to sell the other house, the her previous house, but she refused. And they kept on managing like that until then applied for his British passport. According to her, the same day that the postman came and put his British passport through the door, the same day that the British passport landed into the hands of this man vanished. He vanished. She came back from work, didn't see him, thought that maybe, obviously, maybe as usual, because he used to work long hours, he didn't used to come back home. She waited, it was midnight, she kept on calling him. There was no response. She became, his phone was switched off, so she became scared. She now called the police. So the police said, obviously, they were not going to act on it until after 24 hours. And then until after 48 hours. And then that was when it just occurred to her, let her even check to see. And then she checked the wardrobe and saw that most of his things were gone. That was when it just occurred to her that something was wrong, you see. And then she kept on calling him. There was no answer. She didn't bother to get back to the police again because she knew that not that he was missing or not that his life was in danger. He intentionally left the house because all his things were gone. All his things were gone. And then 1 week later, he called her to say, he wanted to come in to see her and all of that. So she said, okay, where have you been? He said, oh, never mind that he will come and they will talk face to face. He came in there and now started saying to her, he was no more interested in the relationship. She won't be able to have children with him. I jumped one part. Within this period of 8 years, obviously, remember, she was in her 50s. So she said to him, she obviously told him that, it will be good for them to go for adoption, to adopt at least a boy and a girl. And he refused. He turned down that suggestion. He said his mom and dad did not adopt him. He was not interested in doing that. That he wasn't interested in going for any form of adoption. So anyway, so he came back. I think she now went to do all the process of adoption on her own, and even though he knew about it, but he wasn't supporting her. She just was thinking that, okay, it would be good for her to adopt at least a boy and a girl. So when he came back after he had ghosted her for that 1 week, came back and said, that he's still a young man. He would obviously wanted his own biological children from the look of things that she might not be able to give him biological children. So he had moved on. But that he knows he sought legal advice. He knows what's going on in the country. Well, all the two properties here in the UK and all the ones he has in Nigeria, everything will be looked into. But so he knows that she has a lot of money. He was actually telling her, but that he's not going to take it further. That he just wants her to give him £18,000, and that he will just have a clean break, apply for the divorce, and just have a clean break. Everybody will go their separate ways. So she thought he was doing her a favor. That considering what she has, if he's going to take only £18,000 from her, then obviously, and then to have a clean break, that's she'll be happy. And then she arranged with him to come back a couple of days later. This was a rich woman. She went to the bank, withdrew the money according to her. It took her some days to withdraw all of the money, asked him to come, and she gave him cash. So I said, was there any proof to show how the money was given to him? Was there any written agreement or something? She said no, there was no written agreement. The only God that saved her was that the particular date that transfer was made, the withdrawal was made in the bank. She went to to her branch, so it just showed in her statement the day that withdrawal was made in the branch. That was the only proof that she had, because when this matter went to court, this man actually denied that she gave him any money. She actually denied that there was no money, you see. Anyway, he took that money, left, apparently was going, he had some people advising him, and then waited for some time, applied for a divorce. The divorce, she granted him the divorce and everything because she felt, well, what was the point? Even when he was living with her for that period of 8 years, there was nothing. Even the 4 times that they had intimacy, it was as if the first time or something like that. So she granted him the divorce, and he had already moved in with another woman, and who now was pregnant. I think she later had a daughter or something like that. So, well, lo and behold, after the divorce, he waited for some time, and then the next thing she received letters from his solicitors, his lawyers, saying that they understand that obviously they've been married for this period of time, blah blah blah, and they just that he wanted some more. He wanted money. He wanted her to give him the sum of £300,000 so that he can have a clean break. She couldn't believe her eyes. That was when it just occurred to her that from day one of this marriage, this man had it all planned out. That was when she went to, it just occurred to her, she started looking for the prenuptial agreement. He had taken all those things, even some other communications that they had. He had taken everything that would actually show. He had everything. He planned, she was so relaxed. But from day one, when he got into her life, he was just planning and he had everything plotted out. Anyway, so this was how she obviously sought advice here and there, and the application for settlement proper was lodged in the family court in the UK. And then you needed to see how this man was claiming rights, got all the details of all the properties Angela had in Nigeria, listed everything, and was talking with this feeling of entitlement, even though she had those properties before she met him. He felt he was entitled to that 300,000 pounds. This matter took, obviously, you know how it is with court proceedings, took over a period of 2 years. And then finally, to the glory of God, Angela won the case. But unfortunately, remember, when matters such as this, especially the betrayal, when a woman feels that she's been used, when a woman feels that she has not been smart enough, that she had let herself down. So that feeling of betrayal, that feeling of hurt, that anger, that resentment, that bitterness was just building up even while the case was going on. So sometimes she would curse and curse, sometimes she would cry, sometimes, like she would go without food. So she started becoming very, very unwell. It was affecting her. She started becoming even quite forgetful. And sometimes it's lonely here. Obviously, in diaspora here, she resorted to calling that her cousin to say, "Look at the man you introduced to me." I would really not blame the cousin, because I don't think, because a person can only do an introduction. It's left to you as an adult to carry out your research or to make a decision as to say, is this the kind of person you want to be with? So I don't think the cousin had a bad intention. But anyway, she resorted back to calling the cousin, and there were some exchanges of banters and all of that. The cousin had to block her to say, it's nothing to do with me. You're an adult, and I only made an introduction and all of that. Deal with it. So she felt so bad. Gradually, she took ill. She was becoming poorly, and she had this thing at the back of her mind that she was having a premonition that this man wanted to kill her, to take over her estate, that the man didn't have a good intention. She saw some letters that some emails and correspondences that the man sent to his younger one, saying that they shouldn't worry, very soon he's going to be rich, he's going to take the whole family out of poverty. Singles, mature singles, be very, very careful. Be very, very careful. The people you bring into your life, especially when you go to Africa to marry somebody, give it some time. Don't rush, and don't come across as desperate so that you are not exploited and taken undue advantage of. Be very, very careful. The thing about toxic relationships is it affects health. It can affect a woman, the mental health of a woman can actually affect the physical health. So in this case, Angela's mental health was being affected. Her physical health was also being affected. She would she will sometimes, I don't know, say that, oh, each time she's traveling to Nigeria, that the man had sent people to be on the same public transport with her and they wanted to kill her on the way. You know, she was going through a whole lot of trauma, a trauma, and a whole lot. I don't know where those stories were coming from. It was very tragic for her. She became physically unwell also. This is a woman who was very hardworking. And now remember, this time she was in her 60s. So she wasn't agile anymore. She was always making mistakes at work. She lost her job, and she lost her job, but she could stay without a job because obviously she had savings because she had worked over the years. She lost her job and everything because she was now forgetful. She was like the whole thing, this whole failed marriage and the way the man used her, it just affected her completely. She was now a shadow of herself. Then her physical health was affected. She couldn't now walk from she couldn't walk there even from head to head, short distances. She always get tired and everything. She couldn't if she gets somewhere for her to sit, it will take her some time before she can actually sit down, even for her to stand up. And she had this thing. She really believed that there was some spiritual inclination to this, that this man was behind everything that she was going through spiritually, that he was attacking her and all of that. Anyway, the long and short of it, we won the court case on her behalf, and then the judge um, was so angry. Like after the judge had the whole story, the whole history, and everything that this man did, the judge, even when he denied that the £18,000 wasn't given to him, and Angela was able to bring the proof and everything. So the judge believed her because she had all the evidences. So the judge advised him to take his name because he wanted the property, to take his name off the property, and now said he didn't deserve to have anything more because the way he used her, even right from Nigeria, she paid for all the expenses, all the things she used for a traditional wedding, as even as at the time she died, they were taken over by his family members in their own side of the hood. So she won the case, but unfortunately, she became very, very poorly. Before she knew it, they started diagnosing all kinds of things, and before you knew it, she died. So the question now remains: would she, if she had remained unmarried, would she still be alive today? Would Angela still be alive today? If she had done her due diligence, even at the time she wanted to get married, if she was not so desperate, if she had done her due diligence, taking time to study this man. Another thing I forgot to add, what she told me, this man carried this religion and Christianity on top of his head. He was quoting all the scriptures. He would attend the Bible studies. He would pray for hours. He was a church worker. So those were all the things he used to deceive her. So one thing we must also realize as women is that religiosity is different from spirituality. People can pretend to be so religious and yet they don't have the fear of God in them. Because when the chips were down, he actually came out with his true nature to show that he is truly not a genuine Christian. He never feared God in his conduct, the way he treated her. How could you have been married for a woman for 8 years and you only consummated the marriage 4 times in that 8 years? You see, so she got carried away by that deception of saying, "Oh, he's a religious person, he's a Christian, he's a born again Christian." He was quoting the scriptures and reading the Bible every time. She was deceived. So these are all when people tell you, "Oh, I'm born again," and they're quoting scripture, that is a red flag. Look at them again with a double microscope. You understand? That could be a plot. But she fell into that trap. And look at, unfortunately, Look at the way she ended. She had worked so hard in this country, but just because, like every other woman or every other human being, she wanted to find love. She wanted to love and to be loved in return. But unfortunately, in the search for love, she met her untimely death. May God rest her soul. May God rest her soul. And I hope, as a matured woman, even if you are still young and you are planning to go back to Africa to get married, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong in getting married or there's nothing wrong in finding true love, but use a microscope. Be careful the people you get yourself entangled with. Look out for all the red flags. When a person starts quoting scriptures and they keep telling you they are born again, that is another red flag. You understand? And when they are showing that they are not putting you first, as not interested in you or protecting you or putting you first in every decision that they make, that is another red flag. If they are more interested in using you to enrich their families back home in Africa and not interested in your well-being here in diaspora, that is another red flag. Don't be too desperate. At the time when he was not showing interest, even in consummating the marriage, those are all she had all the red flags, but she was blinded by the fact that she got married at an age where obviously she felt she was so matured and she felt somehow through her character that the guy was doing her a favor because she felt time had. There is never a time when a woman is too old to get married. Even whether you are 50, you are 60. I've seen women who got married at the age of 60, 65. It doesn't really matter. At your own time. But the thing is, you have to desire it. But in desiring it, don't come across as too desperate. Stop telling men what you have. Stop saying to him, I have these properties, I inherited them. It will not make the man love you. Rather, you are sending some negative vibes, making the man to start thinking that, okay, how do I get all these things from this woman and then to do a runner? And then they will take everything you've worked for to go and be with another woman. That man today is still in the UK, is remarried, is married another woman now, and then it's moved on with his life. And I'm sure he doesn't have one single remorse or one single regret to say the way he used this woman to come into the UK. From day one, he had an intention. But today she's 6 foot under. You understand? So now, in making choices as women, one of the things that can destroy a woman, you may be a very brilliant woman, an intellectual, you are doing very well in your career, in your business, but one single wrong decision that you make when it comes to relationship, it can destroy everything you have worked for all your years. So, matured singles, most importantly, and also single mothers, don't come across as being too desperate. Love yourself, take care of yourself, but don't come across as being too desperate. Ask questions. Take time the period of courtship is a period to get to know each other. Don't rush things. Don't go to Africa once or twice and the next thing you start planning marriage. You don't. It means you don't know. Even a man that you've lived with for years, it's difficult to know that man completely. Not to talk of the one that you go and stay in Nigeria for 1 week or 2 weeks. The person will be on top of their best behavior because they actually know the intention. So, and also if you have investment as a matured person and everything, and you want to get into that kind of marriage, don't let him take you to his own lawyer. Find a lawyer independent of the two of you, and then put in a prenuptial so that obviously everybody can sign the prenuptial. Then at least he knows the position. Let the prenuptial be that everything you've had before you met him belongs to you, and everything he's had before he met you belongs to him. Then from the inception of the marriage, any other thing that you people are going to build together belongs to the two of you. So once that thing is spelled out in the prenuptial, it makes it even safer for you. Because at the end of the day, now she lost her life, she lost everything. The children that she adopted, she couldn't actually bring them back into the UK. So it's like, all the years she worked, everything just wasted because of, perhaps if she did not become so desperate to start wanting to get married, perhaps she would have still been alive today, enjoying her life and enjoying her work, even if she retires, because she had something that she could fall back on. Could it now be that it is destiny? Well, only God knows. Well, all I can say, may God rest her lovely, may God rest her lovely soul. And I pray that even as I share this experience, a lot of women also, they will be able to learn one or two things from these these are true life experiences. I'll be coming up to share a lot of these true life experiences on this platform so that people can also learn and be able to make corrections. And obviously, because when we learn from other people's experiences so that we don't become a part of the statistics. Please, if you've been blessed by these life stories, please like and comment, and please share so that as many people as possible, they will learn from this, they will listen to this video and learn from this experience. Please continue to subscribe to this YouTube channel. We're trying to build this channel. This platform is a platform where we tell a lot of things about, we share life's experiences. We also give legal advice. Most of the legal advices we give is based on the UK immigration law, UK family law, and UK employment law. So if you have friends or family, or you have relations who you are thinking of how to bring them into the UK, also contact me and be a part of this channel. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you very much for watching. God bless you. I'll see you in my next video. Cheers. Thank you. Bye bye.